What is good, YouTube? It's your boy here, Danny. Today I'm gonna have a quick little discussion about The Fiend versus Randy Orton WrestleMania Night 2. Obviously, the long history between them. You see that The Fiend has created these multiple characters throughout his entire career, starting off of Husky Harris' stage, his original character. Obviously, the still bland character, not technical in the wrestling ring. His performance overall is just not too fascinating to watch. Obviously, Randy Orton kind of pancaked his ass back to the Performance Center to obviously construct a better gimmick for himself, and he built up the Bray Wyatt family and had Eric Rowan and Luke Harper in that group. And then obviously, Randy Orton ended up blowing up the compound when he had that feud with him. And now we're in the current state of this new era, the new feud between them. And I feel like it's a love triangle between Alexa Bliss, The Fiend, and Randy Orton. The Fiend's goal has always been to try to get his vengeance, try to get his revenge against what Randy has been doing over the past 8 years. Always trying to get involved with The Fiend's goal or the Bray Wyatt's goal into being successful and trying to reach his highs of the highs. And Alexa Bliss is the one in the opposite spectrum of it, just analyzing and viewing both of them. So as you guys know, little feud that Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton had was pretty fucking stupid in my opinion. They didn't even have a match. Technically, it was booked as a match, Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton in Fastlane. That was when, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, ended up getting resurrected by, obviously, Alexa Bliss's witchcraft or witch spell that she put upon him that he was going to return. Ended up returning with this new little attire. It looked pretty cool, little new wardrobe that he was wearing. He had the mummified Jeepers Creepers look, and then he had the body armor that was pretty interesting, and you see his hands all torn up, a lot of battle wounds and all that. It was pretty cool, and I feel like they should have kept it in WrestleMania, but they decided just to cut it. They feel like people like it, but I don't like it, so I'm just gonna fucking discard it. And I'm talking about Vince McMahon would do some shit like that, and he did. So going into the match and topic at hand, obviously you saw Randy Orton's entrance. He had the cool little retro throwback look, and it was pretty interesting. A lot of people didn't really analyze and kind of didn't really speak upon it, but I did because I feel like it was pretty cool. And you had The Fiend. Obviously, Alexa Bliss was alluding to the audience that The Fiend is going to make his grand return in the wrestling match out of the Jack in the Box 2 weeks ago, and he did. He ended up coming through the ascending from the Jack in the Box. You had Alexa Bliss revealing the Jack in the Box to the audience, and there you guys have it. And obviously you guys know The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, he does tweet here and there, and he was kind of telling the people that he is Joker and that he's trying to get vengeance for what Randy Orton's done. But going to the Joker conversation, just in the sense of him having personalities, obviously him evolving and kind of excelling himself upon the highs and highs, and the Joker had some trials and tribulations through his entire life, not having a father figure and his over obsession with his mother, things like that. So he kind of just ascended through up the stairs and descended down, and he had to do a lot of optimal decision making into becoming the Joker that we know. People say that they relate to the Joker just because in the retrospect of having their previous life in a similar way, being in a fractured relationship with their parents, or just they're fracturally mentally not there. And I feel like they have this type of cult of personality with themselves, that they have to fight these demons and this alter ego that they have and things like that. I don't want to go overboard and go in a little tangent about that, but I feel like it's kind of similar to it. But literally, Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend are just all unified as the Joker, different personalities all cultivated as one. And going to the match in hand, you had The Fiend looking over upon Randy Orton. Obviously, Randy Orton was in disbelief. He was surprised what was happening, and literally The Fiend literally jumps off the Jack in the Box and tackles his ass. Pretty cool. I kind of like that little concept right there. And the match overall was not too good, not gonna lie. The Fiend he's not in that state of being a good wrestler. He's more of the side that he's very satisfactory as a wrestler, or decent. His tool or his main craft that he kind of has it embedded in him is his creativity and the way that he's able to stand out in certain characters and certain personas that he has built up in his current career. So that's one thing that I can say that he doesn't lack. He perfects it, or he masters it. He's a mastermind when it comes to his segments, his promos, and just the way he kind of builds up his creation. Going to the match in hand, we had Randy Orton doing the signature DDT. Then he tried to do his original stance in his pose, going for the RKO on The Fiend. The Fiend was able to capitalize and go for the mandible claw. Just when he's about to do his sister Abigail, he had him in the proper position. Out of nowhere, you see Alexa Bliss on top of the Jack in the Box. Interesting enough, you see her with black ink on her face, just spewing out, you know, her with this dull stare look on the Fiend. And then you have her wearing the crown, you know, the crown literally spewing the ink. Well, don't know why, it was pretty fucking weird in my opinion. And then you have just the Fiend just glazing at her, just staring at her, not even avoiding any type of contact. And then you have Randy Orton reversing it, hitting the RKO, and he gets the 1, 2, 3, and Randy Orton ends up winning the match. Another WrestleMania moment for the Fiend to lose. Wow. Now, we had the Fiend say some biblical reference of him being Samson and Alexa Bliss being Delilah. The reason why I feel like Jezebel and Habib is a better correlation is because, you know, Jezebel was this very wicked woman in the Bible. She kind of persuaded Habib to follow her wrongdoings, and Habib, obviously, his simpleton mentality, he was able to be manipulated by her causes, and she was able to figure out his sudden weak points. That was probably the reason why he fell as a king, because of the succubus type of woman that Jezebel was able to obviously drain and absorb as much energy from Habib and obviously manipulate him. So I feel like that's a better correlation to that. Now it really doesn't make sense what they're trying to allude here, what their idea is with this feud. I don't know if Alexa Bliss is actually going to be wrestling against the Fiend in this whole situation. Alexa Bliss manipulation, her just controlling the Fiend entirely in this whole concept, very wasteful, because originally when the Fiend debuted in SummerSlam, he was this monstrous character. He was literally invincible. There was no vulnerability, no weakness upon him at all. He was able to capitalize any moves. He would be hit by multiple finishers, by Finn Balor, by Seth Rollins, by Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and he was able to capitalize and go for his signature Sister Abigail and end up winning the match. They were just hyping this character so much, and now since that long dragged feud with Randy Orton, it just kind of like they kind of fumbled the bag right there, and it's just very unfortunate. It is upon us now with Alexa Bliss being this leader now, that she's able to puppet and kind of concoct a way to persuade the mind of the Fiend. They're going to try to capitalize on that now. It's very hard to watch, but I already knew this was going to happen. It was already predicted. Just the ideal sense of what's occurring in today's society, the promotion and all that cool and fun stuff that people love. But if you guys like this type of concept video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for more. Peace.